This was basically an exposition episode, which we needed to get eventually, just to, let other people who are new, just to know what the fuck's going on. I do have some questions, though. Hopefully those who know the answers can sort of expand on them. But throughout this entire episode, I noticed that Saber was pretty quiet, and I know there's so much stuff that she already knows, and yet she's just sitting there or standing there, just acting like... Maybe it's because, Shiro doesn't have enough mana and she's not at her best. I'm still concerned, like, why isn't she saying anything? She said that she's been summoned to this era before. She doesn't want to go into the church. That's very telling. I mean, something's up. If you don't want to go into the church and you would rather stand outside wearing a raincoat, something's up. The only explanation that I could come up with is that maybe her imperfect summoning by Shiro fucked up her brain a little bit. Please tell me they didn't mess up her personality. I just don't want that. Kirei kotomine. One of the first things he asks Shiro is, "What's your name, boy?" And he's like, "Emiya." Emiya? That's a good name. That's a really good name, boy. I like the chime in the background music that they use sometimes. You can hear like the echo from the Fate Zero soundtrack. Ding, 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 ding. There's an incredible amount of subtext in this episode, in the dialogue between Kirei, Shiro, and Rin, that starts from the way that Kirei frames the war as pretty much, a battle to the death, and then Rin refuting that and saying, no, we don't have to kill other masters. And then Kirei sort of like counters that argument by saying, so Shiro, do you think you could defeat your servant? Notice that masters, even though they're mages, they're still human, and they're more fragile than servants. So your best strategy, according to Kirei, is to just destroy the masters, therefore taking care of the servants. Now there's a rule that Kirei mentions that I think just made me raise an eyebrow. Go like, what? He says that if you eliminate a master, the servant disappears along with the master. My question is, how much time does it take for a servant to leave the earth or to disappear after the master has been eliminated? Because I'm remembering an example in which a master was eliminated and the servant was still there, and he still needed to be taken out. So I'm guessing it depends on the amount of mana that the servant has absorbed from the master. And then there's something that I learned that I didn't know, that in order for the Grail to be summoned completely, or in a complete state, 6 servants need to be sacrificed beforehand. So does that mean if less than 6 servants are sacrificed before the Grail appears, that when the Grail appears, it's not at full power? Another thing though is that you can't assume that the person that wins the Grail is necessarily a righteous person. That's what caused the destruction that happened 10 years ago. It's like, Shiro asks, what happens if a total bastard gets his hands on the Grail? Well, you basically get what happened 10 years ago. Just destruction, annihilation, a calamity. Shiro's goal gets a little bit fleshed out in this episode because he realizes that his goal, if he's going to participate in the war, which by the end of this episode turns out that he is going to be to stop that from ever happening again. Kirei kind of encourages the thought by saying, this is kind of a good thing for you because in order for there to be justice, there has to be some evil that you need to overcome. It's kind of like the yin and yang. They can't exist without each other. My theological question at this point in the game, which is something that's not brought up, and it's a common sense question, would be, what kind of a holy item would encourage or set up a game in which people participate in the destruction of others? At the end of the episode, Shiro's all like, challenge accepted. Saber, do you want to be my servant? I'm already your servant, you dumbass. And they run into this little girl that has Berserker. Love the fact how she was like, are you done chatting? Which means that she was already there, like hearing them talk about this. Look at my monster! Rin says that she has a debt to repay to Shiro, which is why he's not going to fight him just yet, which I think is kind of bullshit because she technically saved his life. If somebody owes anybody anything, shouldn't it be Shiro to owe Rin something because she saved his life? And she's like, oh, you used your command seal to stop Saber from fighting. But it's like, didn't Saber say that she wasn't at full power? Comparatively speaking, isn't Rin a better mage? As of right now, isn't she a better mage than Shiro is? Who really saved who? It was a pretty good exposition episode, but that's all it was. Just exposition. We'll get some action next week. I think. I'm pretty sure, actually. Thank you so much for watching. Like the review if you appreciated it. Comment, tell me your thoughts about the episode. And subscribe to my channel to get more unlimited budget works, unlimited hype works, and unlimited Rin's butt works reviews. Bye.